Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Oh, Sebastian Vargas. So you've got a spreadsheet with the new just.
Welcome back to round number 16 of the NPL Victoria men's competition here at Avenger Park. Two sides which this week booked their respective places into round 7 of the Doherty Cup. It is Avondale up against St Albans. Last time these two sides met at Churchill Reserve, a 2-1 win for the Avengers with a brace from Kerr. He is not in the squad this afternoon. Believe he has sustained an injury. I'm Neil Simons, joining you this afternoon, and I'll pass it over to my co-commentator Peter. It's going to be an exciting afternoon of football, I reckon.
I think so, Neil. Welcome everyone, and appreciate being here with everybody. Looking forward to this game. We've got the second team on the table versus St Albans, who are in the relegation zone. So two teams at the opposite ends, but I think Avondale's on a trajectory here. A good win in the cup matches, and now got a bit of momentum going forward.
Absolutely so. We'll take you through the starting lineups here, of course. As for St Albans, of course, Cam Watson, a huge 1-0 win over Green Gully midweek in the cup. Number 7, Alan Jerez. Number 8, Brian Summerskill. Number 9, Scott Bakor. Number 12, Ivan Razumic. Number 13, Joseph Kalina. Number 16, Michael Gugic. Number 18, Jacob Silverin. Number 20, Josh Diven. Number 21, Michael Bulic. Number 22, Max Kent. Number 29, James Rickabeen. As for Avondale, number 4, Aidan Bryce. Number 6, Sebastian Vargas. Number 9, George Ott. Number 10, George Mells. Number 13, Yite Towns. Number 14, Blake Carpenter. Number 17, Adam El Hayek. Number 19, Liston Diaz. Number 33, Joseph Katabian. Number 68, Kalalu Kamara. And number 41, Yusuf Ahmed Senior. Of course, the other Yusuf Ahmed on the bench this afternoon, as we do see Summerskill with a nice little neat flick onto that left flank. Silverin with the misplaced pass, and Kamara into feet Mells towards Carpenter. Of course, Avondale, a bit of a rotated team today. No Stefan Zini either. St Albans just about have their full complement available. Silverin looks back to their goalkeeper, and Marco Bulic, of course, arriving across from the Sutherland Sharks and also briefly signed for Port Melbourne before making the switch over to Churchill Reserve. He's done really well to keep out Yasmin Karanovic out of the number 1 spot. It's a beautiful switch from Katabian. Might unleash Yusuf Ahmed on this left-hand flank. Going to work on that left-hand channel, cutting away onto his right. It's Yusuf Ahmed. Sends it just to the corner flag. A pretty good start for Avondale.
Yeah, attacking start by Avondale. They're missing their 2 top strikers in terms of goals. As you mentioned, Neil, Zinni and Kerr. So a little bit of an adjustment today. But the usual 3-3, 4-4-3 for Avondale. A tight pitch using the wingers. And it'll be very interesting to see how St Albans cope with this, because they're going to be under a lot of pressure today.
You see Bulic with the distribution towards Silverin. Him and Nelson Chongo, former North Geelong Warriors players, arriving across from last season. Silverin having a stint with the Eastern Lions as well at the first half of last season, and the league formerly known as the NPL2, but now known as VPL1. Katabian finds Ahmed. He's onside. And the overlapping Blake Carpenter arrives. Good timely interception from Max King. And Bakor receives it down that right touchline. Looking in field. A good little run forward it was. Down that right flank for St Albans, but struggling to get numbers forward. Midweek, the win against St Albans, a goal from Carter Ramsey, doesn't start this afternoon.
You mentioned Bulic, the goalkeeper for St Albans. We've also got Thomas Manos, who was in the NPL team of the week for the last round. Both actually New South Wales. Very rare to find New South Wales NPL players in the Victorian NPL, but that's good to see. But
you do see Ott through on goal, but he's in an offside position. Good little pass from George Mells, of course. The man of the hour at the Avengers, scored the 97th minute winner last week against Dandenong City. and also started against North Geelong midweek. So we do see James Rickabee, and of course the former Avondale fullback, started in that grand final last season against South Melbourne. Was at the club for about 7-8 years and made an enormous effect upon those involved at the football club. Here is Towns towards Ahmed. He sends it wide for the second time in as many minutes, you'd have to say.
Ahmed switched on today. It seems like he's in an attacking mindset, which is good to see. But I think with St Albans, we've seen it in the last couple of weeks, a couple of mistakes from the back. They've been trying to play a little bit from the back. I think they need to look at maybe rectifying that, because they've turned over and have suffered a few goals. And on a 4 to 5 games loss record recently, so been quite difficult for them.
You do see Avondale and Fawn's a staunch press, and it's Yusuf Ahmed who picks it up once more, rolling it square towards George. Oh, it's a bit of trickery across to Diaz. It's sitting a bit wide for him, however. Cutting inside was Diaz with a heavy, heavy touch as he wins back possession, but in turn also gives away the foul. So a nervy few moments there for St Albans. Here's Diven. Sovereign. And a misplaced pass from Rickabeen. This one out by Yitte Towns, out towards Diaz, who's double teamed on that right touchline, towards El Hayek. Here is Cuddaloo Kamara, Aidan Bryce, Carpenter. Nice little 1-2 executed with Yusuf Ahmed as Blake Carpenter goes to deck and is awarded the foul. Looks like George Melvers was very keen to take that quickly, but it's rolled short towards Katabian. Now Towns. The Avengers happy to knock it around in midfield. A bit of a tussle down that right touchline. As again, Avondale cheaply give away a free kick. And Blake Carpenter's really getting into it in these early phases. As we do see the misplaced pass picked off by Yitte Towns! Just wide. That's been the killer for Dinamo. Really struggling to complete their passes, and it's causing them plenty of issues in that back third.
Yeah, Avondale pressing really up on the front third. They like to play the front third and really just putting pressure on Dinamo. Dinamo really needs to get a little bit more onto the wings because they're playing for the centre, and we saw Yitte Towns, George Mel controlling early play, so warning signs for Dinamo at the moment.
To say at the very least, Sovereign with a neat turn, looking in field to Brian Summerskill. Moves towards Michael Gilgich. This is more of what Cam Watson would have liked, of course, arriving at the club several weeks ago following the sacking of Ryan McGuffey. They took their times, did St Albans, and they got their man, probably the best free agent available coaching-wise in this competition. And towards Summerskill, former Heidelberg United midfielder. A great switch out to that right flank. Here's Rickabeen. Slow build-up from Dinamo. More than happy to knock it around and gain a spell of possession. Here's Max King. Japanese-Australian. Formerly of Tiyama Hirakata in the Japanese fourth tier as the ball was sent into the mixer. Well dealt by Hayek, but cheaply gives away a corner, and St Albans will have their first opportunity to loft one in from that near side.
St Albans really got to play a fast game here, get behind, bit of transition. Summerskills have been their top scorer this season with 4 goals, very important, but set pieces, an important element for St Albans, and really got to show that take these opportunities.
And it will be the aforementioned Brian Summerskill to whip this in. It goes central, and Manos unable to claim it initially following the backwards header from Yusuf Ahmed. Here is Kamara. Aiden Bryce. Line splitting pass towards George Ott. Well, sporting the bandages this afternoon. Last week had a cut on his left eye, which left him bloodied and actually forced him out of play. But he's back in the squad. Started midweek as well. Here's Kalalu Kamara. Rice with the attempted switch. Right into the head of Josh Diven. A misplaced header from Kamara. See a ball out towards that right flank. Aiden Bryce tracking back and doing his defensive duties. Carpenter to Katabian. Here's Kalalu Kamara. El Hayek. Diaz touches in field. And finds Yite Towns with space on that right-hand side towards Ott. The flick back towards Diaz. Eventually intercepted by Dinamo. And Avondale's cautious build-up, eventuating in a very focal opportunity in that instance. Bakor. Summerskill. Actually towards Brian Summerskill, trying his luck from range.
Ambitious there by Summerskill, but you've got to try these things. It's a small pitch and the goalkeeper's off the line. You really got to try that. Avondale, Liston Diaz. You've got Ott. They both were in the top 45 young players to look out for in the NPL this season. There's a list prepared. That's the thing about Avondale. They have got options. You're missing Zinni, you're missing Kerr, but you have these other options, and this what makes a very good team. And that's the danger for St Albans today. They've got to keep things very tight.
Tight and constricted. That is the motto to be enforced for St Albans. There's pressure applied by Ott upon Michael Gergic, of course. George Ott playing against his former side, St Albans, here at Winter Park. Arrived across mid-season last year. Kiwi under-23 international. Hasn't started a lot of games this season, but has done the job when moments count. Tel Hayek towards Mells, who's tracking a little bit deeper. It's Bryce and towards Towns. Kamara, good long pass towards Liston Diaz, and finds George Ott. Loses his footing briefly, but it's played back by Diven. Katabian. It's Towns.
Yeah, in the 8th minute, right?
Towns once more.
That was a...
Kamara from left to right. Avondale with the misplaced pass from El Hayek, and he's slightly out of position. Diven tracking back and laterally finding King. A timely interception from Katabian, and Yite Towns looking to weave into the space. Picked off by Summerskill. Now St Albans could be away here. Space opens up on the right for Alan Jerez. Well, really happy to compose themselves in midfield, St Albans, in these opening few minutes. They've composed themselves quite well since the early onslaught from Avondale.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, now I'm looking at George Mal's really showing leadership, pointing to his players where he wants the ball or where he wants them to place in position. So really showing that A-League and overseas experience, and he's got a little bit more freedom. I can see Katabian, who was naturally a striker earlier in his career, playing more deeper, but George Mal's really showing the leadership and telling where his team. You can see that now, just pointing where it all needs to go.
That is the experience of George Wells, of course. Championship winning player with Adelaide United in 2016. Made the move across to Fortuna Sittard in later years. It's a nice little 1-2 with Ott, and now Yusuf Ahmed delivers for the Avengers. A name change, a number change in the starting 11 for Avondale, and Yusuf Ahmed, formerly the number 11, 41, it doesn't matter. He'll always get on the score sheet. Marks his 7th goal this season. Excellent build-up with George Ott. And Avondale, a duly deserved 1-0 lead.
That was the third opportunity for Ahmed. Really, he's got verve today. He's really got the mood to really take on players, just create opportunity. That just was a very good finish, and really St Albans will be disappointed with that. They laid off a little bit off him, and that's all he needs. And really, just great finish. And Avondale really set up the game for this at the start. I think he's. You've got to be someone like Ahmed. You've got to mark him, and you've got to keep him isolated. But he's just getting behind the lines. Neil.
Breaking the line too easily, causing plenty of headaches. And definitely hearts and hands for St Albans at the moment. Michael Gildigic towards Rickabeen, of course, playing as a centre-back this afternoon, despite Silverrain having more of the height. He's playing as a left fullback, it looks like. Silverrain looked in field briefly, and Katavian back towards Thomas Manos, former Sydney United and Melbourne Knights goalkeeper. It's Max King. Back towards Rickabeen. Across to Michael Gilgic. And Rickabeen. Silverrain. Neat little turn away from the former West United Academy product. Good little touch from Mells towards George Ott. And switch towards Yitte Towns. A neat touch inside. Couldn't find Liston Diaz laterally. As a long ball is sent forward into the arms and safely held by Thomas Manos.
Yeah, quite a few turnover balls here by St Albans, letting Avondale transition very quickly. Yitte Towns had a couple of other options. Diaz was there, but so was Ott, so maybe the wrong choice, but really Avondale on top at the moment. St Albans need really to maybe do more of a higher press, I would say, do a few readjustments. As you mentioned, Neil, Rickabeen playing experienced player who knows Avondale, has come from there, with Gurgic playing in the middle and trying to have that experience, but they're getting behind him, as you can see now. Ott getting a bit of space there.
Back towards Marko Bulic, ex-Victory Academy product. And it looks like there'll be a bit of a concern for, it looks to be, Joseph Kalina. 20-year-old midfielder for St Albans. Broke into the Knights side as a teenager back in the day. It's definitely filled out over the years, that's to be sure. And he'll come off for some treatment.
Everyone knows it's the A-League Grand Final today, and we've got Melbourne Victory from the Victorian perspective, Neil. But this week's been a huge week in terms of what we saw at Preston, South Melbourne, and all goes well for maybe a second division. We know Avondale are very aspirational and got a lot of players here who can definitely step up second division, so that's something you really the focus on. I think that game showed, at least from the Victorian perspective, what the NPL can do and what Preston and South Melbourne can do.
Hold that thought. Silverrain with a nice little touch towards Bacour. Kamara unable to deal with it. And it's sent over the bar. But yes, obviously Avondale it'll be of paramount importance for them to get a cup run this year. Obviously a 5-2 win over North Geelong midweek. Hat-trick from Listen Diaz, as we can see him trying to move back towards his position in the wider angle, but plenty of work to do. If you look at the Calabria club, it's a great facility. Is it suitable enough for the second division? Who knows? Everything's kept under pretty tight wraps at the moment when it comes to non-disclosure agreements and things of that ilk, so we can only hope and wonder, really. But the spectacle midweek, South versus Preston, how good was that? 6,300 fans packing out BT Connor Reserve. It was a really incredible sight, and I'm sure many of these Avondale players who were playing at the same time would have liked to attend it themselves.
Yes, I mean, the atmosphere was electric. The speed of the game was very, very fast, considering the disparity between the division between Preston and South Melbourne, and just the whole sort of vibe of the whole game really caught the eye of a lot of people. I've been looking at back all the, I think the English player there for St Albans had a snapshot there, but really got to get a little bit more involved and offer a few more options. He needs to isolate the centre backs of the Avondale in order to open up a bit of space for his players, because we do know one thing about St Albans: they are a fast team. It can transition quickly. Thing is, they haven't had a lot of goals this year, so they really got to be more efficient with the opportunities they take.
Diaz applying the pressure, forcing the turnover. It's back with Manos. Him and Bryce, of course, teammates for a few seasons now at Avondale, but also were teammates at Melbourne Knights under the likes of Steve Bebic, Carpenter. And this plays pass from Ahmed. Laterally thrown towards Rickabeen. Should I say Summerskill? Touch from Sovereign. Ball down the line, directed towards Diven, and into feet of Tommy Manos. Diven, of course, 1 goal in 17 appearances last season in the VPL 1 competition. Well, at the time was known as NPL 2. Plenty of space for Yite Towns. Oh, tracking back. Here's Kalalu Kamara. Hayden Bryce. Spotting in space for Yite Towns. Diaz. Cutting inside, looking to nutmeg a Dinamo player, but wasn't successful in his pursuit. Sovereign. Plays football with the likes of the Brisbane Strikers. Lions FC also was a winner of the NPL Queensland competition in 2021. Avondale enforcing the press and winning back possession through Blake Carpenter. Here is Mells. Misplaced pass is right into the path of St Albans, who look to drive forward with Scott McCaw. And the pressure from Mells, who made the initial misplaced pass, has forced it out for an Avondale throw-in. So if you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah, an opportunity there for St Albans. They've really got to put a little bit more pressure right up top here for the defence of Avondale. We saw Severin there just let Yite Towns before with too much space, and that creates a lot of opportunities for Avondale. They like to build from the midfield very quickly to the front third. And that's something that St Albans got to look at, but also they've got to be more efficient in their tackling, because they're just giving too much space for the Avondale players.
Ahmed. He's in a bit of a heap here and gives away possession. Definitely held the ball for far too long. St Albans will look to recycle themselves. Sovereign. Jerez, the Argentine, arriving from Green Gully in the off-season. It's a bit of a shock signing for Green Gully, considering that he played his football at the relegated Eastern Lions the season prior. Throw in taken quickly towards Ott. And Girgic wins back the football for St. Albans. We're starting to just grow into this contest just that little bit. They might not possess the technical acumen that Avondale do, but they have a master tactician in Cam Watson and his assistant, Billy Selesky. Rickard Bean. Nice pass towards Sorverin. Opting to play in a more central position, and it's Max King! Well, that could be a potential sign of things to come for Dinamo.
Yes, Max King, ambitious, but good shot. That just shows that St. Albans really got to take the opportunity. I noticed that Markovski's got a little bit more with his players of hustle pressure. They're putting a lot more pressure. We saw Liston Diaz start putting pressure on the defence there of St. Albans. It's good to see because it's not just an attacking game. You need to hustle and get that turnover. And St. Albans have got a bit more variation to the way they're playing, and they've got the players. They've got the squad. A lot of attacking options, but also a lot of creativity. But one thing that always maintains champion teams, they are the champions from last year, is also that hustle and pressure in the front third, or a block or a lock. It doesn't matter. It really needs to add that into your team, and I can see that Zoran's made those adjustments this year.
Absolutely. Neat little flick from Yute Towns, and we'll find Georgiot in space, but pass is overhit. See a nice little crowd being built up here at Adventure Park, especially on this near side grandstand that's able to be in use has been relatively packed out. Strong run from Josh Diven approaching the penalty area. A timely interception from Al Hayek. Here's Towns. Kamara. Looking for the diagonal. It's executed. He'll play Carpenter. Avondale just looking to pierce the gaps and will look to enforce fast ball movement strategies to get their second, you'd have to say, but St. Albans proving to be quite tricky customers as Girgic's header is kept in play just about. Ott with a flick. Overhit pass, Katabian. Former Victory and Brisbane Raw product. Only a couple of appearances for either side. He's a star striker, as you mentioned, with the Bullying Lions as a teenager. But he just says it's just a natural progression of how things really go for him, moving deeper into midfield. That's a beautiful line-splitting pass, but Blake Carpenter was offside anyway.
You mentioned Katebi, and we were talking about pathways just before the start of this broadcast, Neil, and these are the type of players that we need a second division, just need that extra league to get that pathways, and we haven't seen enough Victorian players get opportunities in the A, especially in the NPL. But I'm looking at Avondale. Zon also likes a bit of... he's got license for his players to move around. Melzi's in the middle, but he's also shifting. Yute Towns was on the right, now shifted to the left. Katebian's drifting a little bit more to the right, although he's playing 6. He's got faith in his players, and they've got a bit of a license to be able to read the game and move across accordingly. St. Albans need to find a little bit of a different strategy. I know they're trying to play out a lot, but they did suffer a couple of goals. We know in the recent matches, 4 or 5 losses on a row, and they've just got to be a little bit more maybe direct in this game, Neil.
Well, they certainly know how to score goals. They scored 3 of them against Port Melbourne Sharks last week. Unfortunately, the Sharks scored 5 of their very own, so... Against the top teams, they might find a few more issues, and obviously those issues have been well documented. Ryan McGuffey being sacked a few weeks ago. I'm sure they'll be very happy with an opportunity to yet again go into the round of 32 of the Australia Cup. So close last year, losing to Heidelberg United. Here's Ahmed. Mel's picking up deep and looking for the fantastic ball towards Liston Diaz, who is offside. That was an unreal piece of quality, but unfortunately for Diaz, he was just caught out by the last line of defence.
Great vision by Mel's there. He was also in the NPL Team of the Week from last week, round 14. And you can see that vision, that A-League experience, overseas experience, and listen, Diaz really quick off the mark. A bit unlucky, but he was offside. But really just shows just the class of Avondale, and really just can, at a pick of a hat, can create opportunities. And this is the danger for St Albans. They've got to get a little bit tighter, I think.
I mean, Michael Gergic has been quite the customer dealing with all these Avondale attacking flurries, and of course in his early 30s now, and he'll certainly have a lot to deal with in the coming 60 minutes, you'd have to imagine. Katavian in tow. Avondale compose themselves, and Bryce tracking up slightly higher. Mel's. Katavian. Here's El Hayek. Aidan Bryce. El Hayek with a heavy touch, but retrieves. Towns. Avondale still building. Mel's. A triangle executed with Blake Carpenter. The 1-2 from Towns. And now it's Ahmed. Free as Otts. It's George Otts towards Liston Diaz, who just finishes it wide. Avondale just piercing all the gaps. It's like Swiss cheese in the back four for St Albans.
You can see there on the body language on the face of Christian Diaz, Liston Diaz. He knows that that was an opportunity, just missed on the near post, on the far post, I should say. Yeah, just piercing through, just making it a bit easier. And Neil, we saw earlier that Christian Trachevsky is slowly, maybe 4 or 5 weeks away, really warming up, bringing him into this squad. We talked about the midfield, and I don't want to be Avondale-centric here, but it's good to see he's coming back from injury, and really he's going to add a different dimension, one of the most creative, and potentially should be in the A-League for me, going to be very unlucky players, and that just adds an extra dimension and layers of creativity and opportunity for Avondale.
Absolutely so, but St Albans also have plenty of quality on the park. I mean, Scott Pacor's starting to kick on. Ivan Razumic, a very talented player in his own right, formerly of Avondale's under-20s, where he played there in 2020. There actually are a couple of players across the park. Adam Horder as well is in the squad, formerly an Avondale player. Gilgich. Poor giveaway. And the line is set, but Otts will look to fire. It looks like what we saw in the first 10 minutes is starting to creep back into the psychology for St Albans.
Turnovers, the marking's a little bit left to be desired. Ott should have done better there. That was a great opportunity. Should have put that on target. Bullich, a very good keeper, very good shot stopper. He should have been brought into the picture there and made a save. But you mentioned St Albans. Cam Watson's in a difficult position. In relegation, you've got a lot of young talent. You mentioned some players earlier, Neil, and really, does he trust those, or he just try to get scrap out of this relegation? Because we're pretty much past halfway, so really is a very delicate position, just behind Manningham in 12th. Do you try to scrape in and just play the percentages, or do you give some of these players a license to be more creative and really, prosper?
That is the question. Of course, Cam Watson arriving at Hume City with a bit of a battle on his hands as well. Last season, but only the one team going down this year will help things just a little bit, as we do see St Albans trudging through in possession, and space might open up here for Alan Jerez. An excellent stop from Thomas Manos. The first time he's really been brought into this contest, but comes up big at the right time.
Jerez there, the Argentinian, ex-Gringali player, as you mentioned, Neil. Very good shot there. Really nearly caught Manos, who's a very good shot stopper. So we need more of that. They've had a few shots. St Albans, that may be the methodology to get back in the game.
It's delivered in towards the centre. Now the back post for King. Slightly over Thomas Manos. It actually hit the crossbar. Bit of a deft touch of the upright. Bryson, two minds here, and does the right thing, playing out of play, and Michael Gurgic is back up on his feet, and looks like Gully will throw it back into the play for Avondale to recompose themselves. They really should be 2 goals up at least at this point. Play Carpenter. Katabian. It's Kamara. Katabian. Exquisite ball. Can Diaz find the good first touch? He's brought to ground, providing support by way of pressure. But again, St Albans able to win out once more, and they might have space opening up here through Josh Diven. Twisting, turning, and does find options for Bakor, approaching the byline, and it's off the foot of Kalalu Kamara, out for yet another corner, the third on that same near side.
Now, you mentioned the ex-Western United player, Diven there. Really needs to press up and create that opportunity. This could be the angle that St Albans need. They've had a few set pieces, Neil. It's probably the 3rd or 4th corner. None of the stats in front of me, and this maybe need to get, a few of the taller players in there and be able to get back in this game.
Taking some time to deliver this, but it eventually is sent into the mix. It evades everyone bar Aidan Bryce, who was there waiting at the back post. And Avondale win a goal kick. Of course, in an earlier game today, Hume City face off against Green Gully. The early kickoff at Green Gully Reserve. What the game we had as Green Gully took the lead with Shifa Ahmed, and then of course did eventually succumb to a 2-1 loss. The main takeaway from that game would probably be that Michael Weir has signed for Hume City. Arriving across from the Newcastle Jets is Diaz, chucking it to his left, but again fires it over the bar. Avondale maybe just not exercising that patience that we saw in the opening 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, they're forcing a little bit. I mean, they've had the opportunities. It should be 2, maybe 3-0 up. You mentioned Weir, yes, must have been let go from the A-League. The Jets I think he also got a red card in the last minutes. There were 2 red cards in that match. Green Gully 1, Hume 2.
Good touch from Ott, and finds Diaz free. Liston Diaz couldn't find the correct delivery, but he's still onside. Diaz across the face. It's Yusuf Ahmed looking to track back Mel's, looking to fire one. A good save from Bullich, getting it down to his left and getting dirty. And now the corner for the Avengers. And obviously without Sion Cuba in the starting 11 this afternoon, it looks like we'll see Blake Carpenter take the corners. South Australian Carpenter. Into the mixer it goes. And St Albans get it clear. El Hayek and Towns, the only players back for Avondale. Here's Thomas Manos towards Ite Towns. Kalalu Kamara. Mells. El Hayek. Mells, that's a very poor giveaway. And Summerskill could be on here for St Albans. That was their best chance of the contest thus far. Mells once again with his second misplaced pass. And that one was a very, very nice opportunity for St Albans to get one back.
Summerskill top scorer for St Albans this year. What an opportunity. Should have really done better there. They haven't had that many clear-cut ones. You've got to take your chance, especially with, we mentioned the attacking prowess of Avondale. And, you know, when you do put pressure, and this is something that maybe Cam Watson wants, more pressure in the defensive third of Avondale, get those turnovers and maybe able to convert, and really that's a sign of maybe of the game plan going forward.
Here's Katabian. It's Kamara. And St Albans might feel an added degree of confidence as able to win back possession immediately through Divin. Sovereign. Beats past Liston Diaz. Towards Summerskill. Laterally towards King. Summerskill cutting on to his right. And fashions a delivery in. Here's Towns. Spots Carpenter. He's able to beat past his man, but runs it out of play. Here's Rickabeen. Bullich. Diaz racing forward, but it's come off the Avondale youngster. Here is Michael Gergic. In space was Josh Divin. Poorly given away. And Katabian. Towns. Summerskill. Long looping ball. Well dealt with by Aidan Bryce. El Hayek. Of course, former Western United Academy youngster. And a brief stint there for 1.5 seasons. Arrived back at the club mid last season. Heidelberg and Bulleen Jr., of course, in place of Gillen Jakupi, has been out for a large majority of the season. Carpenter stepping in. Spots Katabian. And line splitting pass towards Yusuf Ahmed, who's onside. But he's been cut out by the St Albans defence. It's eventually sent out of play. And it looks like Max King is going to have a bit of a chat with Cam Watson. It gives us time to reset. Looks like there's a bit of concern as well for Yusuf Ahmed, who's having a chat with his physio.
Looks like Ahmed's coming off. He just waved there. He's got a bit of an injury. Cam Watson, I think, made a bit of an adjustment. You mentioned Divin before. He started more of 4-4-2 compared to Avondale's 4-3-3. Now it looks like he's pushing a little bit further. He sees that maybe the turnover can benefit his team. He's moved to more 4-3-3 with Divin pushing up a little bit more on the left. But things not looking good for Ahmed Neil. I think he's coming off. Could be a hamstring or a thigh. Look quite serious, actually. Looks in a lot of discomfort. So Avondale will have to readjust here, bring on a substitute.
Well, this is not good news for Avondale. Yusuf Ahmed, who was out last week and for the last few weeks with the injury concerns, is looking to make his way off the park. Of course, on the bench they do have the likes of Sian Cuba, Yusuf Ahmed Jr. And well, this is a huge concern, and Ahmed is in an awful lot of pain. Find out who his replacement will be in just a few moments, but no one exactly prepared to come on as of yet. I guess you want to look like for like would be Yusuf Ahmed Jr. And we will have 2 minutes at a time within this first half. Here's King. Summer School. Looking to find the gaps, and they do eventually. Space opening up on that right-hand touchline. Rolled square towards Razumic. And involved there was Carpenter. It's towards Bakor. And Jerez is looking to pick up here. And Bryce is going to attempt to clear it down the line. And we will see the change. Sian Cuba is going to come on. Well, this is something new. Looks like we'll see the introduction of Cuba, who, well, usually plays as a number 10, is likely going to be deployed out wide. So we do see George Ott in space. Looking to find Yite Towns is going to have to run all the way towards the byline to receive that pass. It's rolled short towards Diaz. Poor touch. Now with King, yet again. And could St. Albans perhaps generate an opportunity on the stroke of half-time? Square ball towards King once more. Changing passes. Summerskill looking to bide their time. Avondale play without 10 men for the last 2 minutes. There's a nice little piece of interplay. Finds Summerskill! Hitting the side netting, and now will be the half-time whistle blown. Well, an early onslaught from Avondale and a goal from Yusuf Ahmed is what sees them up 1-0 in this contest. And they finish the half with that aforementioned goal scorer going off, and St. Albans eventually applying the pressure. Well, plenty to ponder. What do you think?
Well, with Ahmed off, he created 3 big opportunities, including the goal, so that's a bit of a blow for Avondale. I mean, Chan Kubo, we'll talk about him in the second half. Very dynamite player, but I was thinking Jerez, Summerskill, and King really got to get a little bit more involved in the game. Summerskill's had a couple of opportunities. A goal just before half-time could have changed the complexion. St. Albans will be thinking we're still in this. Avondale say we've missed opportunity, so we're finally balanced for a pretty interesting second half. Neil?
Absolutely. We'll be back with you in 15 minutes for the second half. welcome.
The guys I
Welcome back to round number 15 of the NPL Victoria men's competition here at Avenger Park. Avondale taking on St. Albans. We do have a double change at halftime. Sian Cuba is going to make his way onto the park for Yusuf Ahmed. And Nelson Chongo, yes, it is going to be Nelson Chongo, it looks like. Very least. Coming on in this second half. The NPL Western Australia player, formerly the likes of Perth Soccer Club Balcata and Buildup, Croatia. It's El Hayek back towards Kadalu Kamara. Otts flicked in towards Yite Towns, looking to find momentum forward. And King, it's picked up by Mells. Back towards El Hayek. Kamara Manos, and gives us an opportunity to give our thoughts on that first half, but that might have to wait as Blake Carpenter looks a long ball towards George Ott. Now with Sian Cuba switching it towards Liston Diaz. Deflected over the top, out for a corner. Benny, your thoughts on that first half? Avondale had the ascendancy for most of their contest, but a couple of poor mistakes from both teams led to some very intriguing opportunities.
Yes, Neil, that first half pretty much, we saw Ahmed go off, but Yusuf Ahmed really created a lot of havoc and opportunity. So did Liston Diaz. They looked very dangerous, Avondale. St. Albans, the set pieces, had a couple of chances and also shots outside the box. But we're looking forward to the second half. Very
delivered into the near post. Down for another corner.
Another corner for Avondale. They haven't had that many corners today, and let's see what they do with this set piece.
It's back with Blake Carpenter, delivered towards a backstick Kamara, and there is George Ott. Points towards his headband. And despite the cut to his eyes are able to see the path of the ball. Into the back of the net it goes. And Avondale just about nearly putting this game to bed. Only 2 minutes into the second half. A great delivery and an exquisite header from George Ott, who's up now to over 5 goals in the NPL Victoria this campaign.
Yeah, George Ott, one of the 5 firepower players for Avondale, one of their top goal scorers this year. But really, there was a bit of luck there. He was just right place, right time. I would say the defence of St. Albans, the positioning was a little bit poor, but George Ott missed a great opportunity first half, redeemed himself there, Neil.
absolutely has redeemed himself and has a goal this afternoon. As Bullitt is forced all the way back by Ott. He does deal with it quite well. And here's Diaz. Picked off by King. Oh, and a bit of a scrap here with Joey Katavian and Brian Summerskill. A few pushes as the camera pans back towards the midfield for Avondale. Here's Katavian in space. Lofted ball over the top. Well dealt by Gurgic, and George Ott brings Gurgic to ground.
Beautiful day here at Avondale at Avenger Park. A lot of crowd here on this side. We've even got some in the stand, so fantastic. Very sunny day. I have to say this though, Neil.
As we do hold that thought, as St Albans could be three rolled across square, but it's well dealt with by Katalu Kamara. And Summerskill and Mells into tow with the headed opportunities as Katavian is brought down.
Yeah, sorry, as I was saying about that thought, Neil, the sun's right in our eyes, and I will say this, very hard to see the St Albans numbers, and even a little bit of the play down that far side, so a little bit different, but we're not complaining. Sunny day, great football, come out, support the NPL, 3 other big matches tonight, so please come out.
Yeah, 3 huge matches this evening, and that starts off with Port Melbourne taking on the Melbourne Knights at 5 p.m. as the bowlers roll across towards Aidan Bryce, who can't quite deal with it defensively and find space on that left touchline. Manos coming out to punch it away. And the misplaced pass from St Albans might see a beautiful ball from Diaz, played into the path of George Ott, and beautiful work by Michael Gurgic to force the pressure. Might have had to have a strike at it earlier on. A little bit too patient on that opportunity. As St Albans might look to generate something themselves, driving forward into a central region, beating past Kamara. A player goes to ground, but no penalty in the offing. This game is absolutely end-to-end, exhilarating stuff. As Cuba unable to direct the pass forward. Shongo, neat little turn away from Alan Jerez. Mel stepping in. And Towns finding space for Sian Cuba. Plenty of greenery to run in. Cutting onto his right. It's Sian Cuba. Shot deflected. Might have a second strike at it. Was Liston Diaz. That's over the bar. Gives us an opportunity just to breathe. What a turbulent few minutes we've just seen.
Exciting phases of play, have to say. Chian Kuba, who really was one of the stars last year in terms of really what he did at Atona Magic. Came out from Queensland, really an X-factor player who can assist, who can take set pieces and also can score goals. So great to see Chian really doing well. But good defence there. Gurgic, as you mentioned earlier, body to body, just put the Avondale player off, and the same thing applied right at the last minute there for Avondale. Good defence, good to see some stronger marking in the box. Neil.
Absolutely. Sian Cuba, 6 goals last season, is very close to matching that in the league. He, of course, did score midweek against North Sunshine as well. So was rested, but we'll get 45 this afternoon. Mells with a backwards header. Good little touch from George Ott. Now towards Diaz, laterally towards Mells. Ott turns away. Tabian. Avondale slowly starting to hit their strides. Manos. Aidan Bryce. Mells in space. And that's a sumptuous ball towards Blake Carpenter, who can exploit the space. Looking to cut away from his marker, approaching the byline. Carpenter muscled down, but no free kick in the offing. And the goal kick now towards Marko Bulic.
Yeah, we saw there Chongo, I think it was Neil, who made that defence. But here's Chan Kuba. Come from interstate, as is Chongo. And that's the thing about the NPL. the NPL in Victoria. We've got a lot of players coming from interstate, really blending in with the local players and really making this the best NPL, I would say, in Australia.
Absolutely. You see on Cuba tracking all the way back to the right flank. He's actually a left winger. And getting that away. We'll see another change now for St Albans. Scott McCaw coming off. Oncoming Carter Ramsey, who did score midweek against Green Gully, with ex-Murray United player and as an under 14. And of course had a really good season last year with the Eastern Lions. 13 goals in the NPL2. Could he perhaps inspire his Dinamo side, as we do see a yellow card towards Liston Diaz? Maybe just for a bit of chit-chatter towards the referee. Certainly avoidable, that's to be certain. Kamara. Katabian sends it high into the afternoon sky. Here's Chongo. Good little first touch, but Mel's beautiful pressure, and Sian Cuba is free and away. Cuts it onto his right. Avondale very keen to take their time in this build-up phase of play. Katabian. He's forced us under some pressure himself as Bryce neatly flicks it towards Kalalu Kamara. El Hayek. Manos. Katabian, the one-time pass with Aidan Bryce. It's a poor giveaway. Here is Derez, looking to weave his way through. He's forced left now from Dinamo. Here's King, stepping up. Body to body with Aidan Bryce. Now Chongo might look to fashion one in on his right foot. He does so. Katabian rising highest. And now Gurgic. We know he has an appetite for goals. It is Jerez. Almost like a knuckleball, but not remotely finding the top left corner.
Yeah, a referee today letting the game flow, which is very good. We saw Liston Diaz get a yellow card, but that was more, could have been back chat there. But really, the game's flowing. A couple of mistakes there by Kamara and Bryce. A couple of turnovers and letting St Albans in. St Albans really need to capitalise and push up in that third.
Neat ball towards Ramsey, and the shot arrives, and St Albans have an avenue back. Just as you mentioned, Peter, this game's certainly not out of the grasp of Cam Watson's side. And Joseph Kalina comes up big with a beautiful lofted strike to the bottom right corner. One of his first for the campaign. And what a way to do it. And what an opportune time at that.
Yeah, they stayed off him. A bit of punchy mobility, I would call it there. By Kalina, very good finish. 2-1. Manos, a very good shot stopper. Not easily beaten. And really, St Albans back in this. And I think that's where it lies. Putting pressure on the back third of Avondale, because that's where you can get the turnover.
Well, certainly, this game has got plenty to offer in the last 35 minutes of play, as we see Joey Katabian now in some pain. Well, of course, Avondale don't exactly have a large depth of midfielders to choose from. Of course, Christian Trajewski out already. And also, of course, Sian Cuba coming on already in place of Yusuf Ahmed. So, Katabian has missed a few games this season due to injury concerns, but well, it remains to be seen as to what might be the case with the Avondale midfielder. Peter, your thoughts on the game so far in this second half? St Albans really applying the pressure.
I think Cam Watson, he's the Adelaide School of Football. Knows how to develop, motivate younger players. Adelaide's a kind of club through their NPL, even through the league from the NPL, to give opportunity to players, allow them to be more creative, more press. I think he sees that Avondale, very confident, obviously 2-0 up. A chance to press, and this is where they can get in, either through a set piece, a turnover, we've seen it before, also pushing up a little bit and forcing Avondale to make mistakes. Looks concerning now here with Katebian. This will be the second big blow because we've seen Yusuf Ahmed and now Katebian. Neil, this is very concerning. He looks very gingerly, getting assistance by the trainer and also a teammate. Very, very concerning. Not many midfielders on the Avondale bench. Neil, this could be problematic. I would say they're in for a change. We're getting...
Yusuf Ahmed is going to make his way onto the park for Joey Katabian, and well, that's a very easy tactical switch for Avondale to make. But they've been forced into 2 changes already. But of course, as one of them was made at half-time, they still have a substitution window to utilise. Well, that's not good news. Katabian and Ahmed looking to go down with pretty significant injuries. And all balls to the wall now for St Albans if they want to potentially generate an opportunity going forward. Of course, Yusuf Ahmed, one of the top goal scorers last season in the lower South Australian NPL divisions. In the state leagues, as they call it. But was a rival in the off-season and left all NPL Victoria media pundits surprised with the fact that they've got 2 Yusuf Ahmeds. Of course, this one is under the age of 23, however, meaning he can play in the under-23 NPL1 competition.
Yeah, Yusuf Ahmed from South Australia, from I think Salisbury or those clubs. Very exciting player, adaptable, good work ethic, a natural winger. Pink boots, very exciting, and I think, as you say, 2 Yusufs could be interesting, but a poor ball there. Should have done a little bit better because Cooper was getting behind.
And St Albans really have themselves a momentum. They're really setting the tempo as well. Doesn't help that 2 of your best players suffer pretty significant injuries, but it's picked off by Ahmed. Into feet is Cuban. A nice little 1-2 with Yusuf Ahmed. Last touch coming off Joseph Colina. Georgiot into feet. A tug of the shirt on Yusuf Ahmed. But in fact, he just exerted too much force. Also, Yusuf Ahmed arriving at Salisbury United in 2023. Actually re-signed for them, but then was brought across to Avondale in the pre-season. A good ball from Towns. Spots Liston Diaz. Short towards Mells. Avondale have to reset again from a defensive position. Kamara weaving his way through and is awarded the foul.
You mentioned Salisbury United. I think we both mentioned it. An interesting battle between Tongo, also from Adelaide, and Yusuf Ahmed. Interesting, very lively player. Should be a very important battle and provides a lot of width there too. So, Yide Towns probably needs to control the tempo a little bit more. They've been a bit sloppy. He's up.
Here's Georgiot bearing down on goal, and he's sent it right over the bar. His 3rd or 4th chance he's had, but he couldn't find the top left corner. And we'll see a double change from St Albans as they seek to well and truly act as the tempo setters. Josh Divin is going to make way for Nicholas Murray, of course, the Bendigo Amateur Soccer League great. And Joey Monac is going to make his way on for James Rickabeen. Monac, formerly of the likes of the Melbourne Knights and also ex-Melbourne City youth player. Been at the club since 2016. Provided much needed experience. Yite Towns heads it forward. It's Cuba towards Yusuf Ahmed, who still looks to win out the ball, but Gilgic, with a sliding effort, just sent him on his way.
Tongo there let Ahmed through on the wrong side, playing on the wrong side. Should be inside. Lucky there, Gurgic You mentioned Murray. He was also in the top 45 talents to look out for under 23 in Victorian NPL. Interesting player, and someone, good to see them get the opportunity. Monac, I think he's played the most games for St Albans at NPL level. So very, very well credentialed player and someone with experience, and they could probably get back into the game. But I think St Albans got to up the ante now. Got to be very careful in defence and really push, because Avondale got a bit of vulnerability.
Might be on here. The pass slightly overhit. A little bit of a discus throw from Thomas Manos. As Carpenter's forced back. The pressure enforced. And Cuba is brought to ground, and the yellow card to Joseph Colina. So Avondale just time to reset and reconsolidate themselves from a defensive position. Of course, Nicholas Diven. So Josh Diven, should I say, a good shift from him. Nicholas Murray with 8 goals in 11 games this season in the under 23 NPL1 competition. So well and truly now a first team fixture. As Bryce is tracked back, and his pocket has been picked. But a good save from Manos, still alive for St Albans. What a golden chance for Carter Ramsey, who just had to finish there.
Ramsey could have got his second goal. What an opportunity. Pickpocketed Bryce, who has been a little bit off the boil in a couple of instances, and really got to do better there. You're not going to get that many chances. And Thomas Manos, well spread, experience, showed a fantastic block. Avondale really, the players have got license to create, etc., but they've got to be a bit tighter, because we've seen St Albans are a fast, punchy team, and on transition, they can hurt you.
Certainly hurt Avondale in providing a few gaps to exploit. Cool heads might have to prevail, but Cam Watson, this is how he gets his sides on top in the second half. Well, he's demonstrated that in Hume City. Was sacked earlier this season, despite being at the top half of the table. And a poor pass from Ahmed. Here's Colina. And it will be safely held by Thomas Manos. Plenty to ponder. Another goal from Avondale might kill things. A loose pass might find the head of Yusuf Ahmed. Stray touch from Yite Towns. Looking to beat it around. Adam El Hayek. Another poor giveaway nearly from Avondale, but Towns does well to compose. Mel's. El Hayek. It's Kamara. Long ball forward is given away. A massive roar from the bench from the likes of Billy Selesky and Cam Watson.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit more of full-on press. I think Cam Watson says pressure in their half, pressure on their half, and we're seeing some turnovers. Could have a third injury here, Neil. Looks concerning. Something's going on. Avondale, a third player down, and really, this really concerning. They've lost 2 of their top, Katebian and Yusuf Ahmed, and now can't see who it is, I'm afraid, but it could be very, very concerned. It could be another change. But really, St Albans getting their tails up. Ramsey and Colina making a big difference. They really lifted this second half and looking dangerous and can get back into those game. They don't look like a team that's in the relegation zone at the moment, and really need to keep that energy going, Neil.
Well, this would be something. If El Hayek has to go off, this means that Sebastian Vargas is likely going to come on. But it looks like he's going to be all okay, and Vargas has been instructed now to warm up. Of course, only Massimo Del Genio and Vargas are the only real defensive options on the bench available to Avondale at the moment. But they have to stay in there for another 20 minutes or so. But Cam Watson knows this is the time. And it has to be the time because, well, for their sake, they really need to find that added level of intensity into the latter half of the campaign and also into the next round of the Doherty Cup. Ott. And again, Ahmed gives away the free kick. Gugic looks across the box. Much urgency, St. Albans. Real spring in their step, one could say. Here's Gugic across the Shongo. Driving central. Jerez was picked off by Ott. It's all too easy for Marko Bulic. Now looking left, Dinamo. I think a little shape away. And Colina does nutmeg Ahmed. He's still on the deck. Shongo towards Murray, breaking the space. Cutting on to his left. Here's Shongo. King. Space on that left flank. Long delivery towards the back stick. Ramsey was there and Carpenter. An extended leg at it. Sees it out for a corner.
Yeah, I mean, actually looking at Nicholas Murray, the young player, he's really added some verve on this right side. He's asking for the ball. He's getting a little bit behind Blake Carpenter, but Blake did very well then in recovery. He had two players there, Ramsey and Maury. But here's an opportunity, the set piece.
Well, Avondale scored a goal from a set piece. Could St. Albans repeat that very feat? Summer skill. It's with Towns, Mells with the backwards header. And now Gulic looking to weave his way through. Off balance, got the cross away. And it's with Aiden Bryce looking to play short. A touch from Mells. Here's Ahmed. Isolating himself with Nelson Shongo. It's Ahmed short towards Mells. Laterally, El Hayek. Hayden Bryce. And Carpenter. His pass intercepted. And Yite Towns, a strong body positioning from Max King. He's still on the deck. It's Cuba. Twisting, turning. El Hayek. Laterally to Mells. Spots Ahmed free on that left flank, but he's in an offside position. And you can see a bit of frustration emanating from George Mells. He's twice in this game he's had two diagonal balls misplaced due to the offside flag being raised. Here's Aiden Bryce striding forward. And Carpenter. Ahmed. Still holds possession and looks for the switch, but it's right on the ground and firmly into feet for St. Albans. And look towards that left flank. This time for Joey Monek. Excellent defensive awareness from Adam El Hayek. Avondale seek to move up forward. Ott back to goal. Hasn't that battle been a tantalising one? George Ott and Michael Gugic has really been the main sort of one-on-one challenges that we've seen this afternoon have come from that centre-back and striker battle, shall we say.
Gugic, a mainstay of St. Albans, really, leadership. I saw George Mells, a couple of passes, very good, obviously the offside. We know Yusuf's got a lot of acceleration, he's just got to time his run a little bit more, and because George Mells has got that distribution to get beyond. I think, but Gergic, very important. They're going to have to take a few risks to get that equaliser.
And we do see Liston Diaz in space. Again, picked off by Gergic, who's been excellent all afternoon. And Yusuf Ahmed running into a brick wall in the form of Nicholas Murray. Mel's back towards Bryce. Of course, without the calmness of Joey Katabian, it's hard to reset from that point forward. There's a good little run from Annabelle Hayek down that right touch line. Here's Bryce. Carpenter. Yusuf Ahmed looking to utilise the full width of the pitch. In defeat Yute Towns. Exquisite switch from Blake Carpenter. Looking to find Liston Diaz. Keeps it in play. I'm not sure if that was a pass or a touch, but overhit nonetheless. And now it looks like St Albans are dealing with a wealth of pressure. Oh, in fact, it's going to be St Albans' ball.
Yeah, the two wing-backs of Avondale, Blake Carpenter being one of them, have really done a lot of work. You can see that because obviously they've had a few injuries and really coming across. And you can see Carpenter there really get on his man, and we need that because St Albans getting back in the game. George Mel's leadership trying to get back in control of this, and you can see another ball here to Diaz, very dangerous. And
Diaz, the overlap from El Hayek, looking to square it. No Avondale players able to meet it. Might space open up for Colina. Just inside their defensive half, and after an onslaught in the opening few moments, Avondale's starting to curl their way back into this tie. Here is Chongo. Couple of step overs, but well done. Well dealt with by Carpenter, who's beat off the ball again. Here's Summerskill. Towards Bryce. It's King. Cleanly spots out Nicholas Murray. Colina drawing it onto his right. Max King, he's been so good at the heart, at the base of this midfield for St Albans. A really talented player, only 22 years of age. Quite an interesting career path for him, of course, applying his training in Japan early on and then later moving across to NPL Queensland. But Peter, what are some of your thoughts on Max King? I think he's been quite excellent.
yeah, he has. He's the kind of player that needs maybe a path and opportunity. We talked about the second division, and these are the type of players, Sean Cuba, Max King, who can really blossom and get that sort of fuller professional career. I'm also impressed with Al Hayek, done a lot of work on the right for Avondale. He's obviously got a bit more license to roam. That's the way Avondale play. But his recovery runs have been fantastic coming out of right back as well. But
as we'll see, Summerskill back to goal. The pressure of Sion Cuba is there. Own taken quickly by St Albans. Here's King. Rolled square. It's Ramsey. Looking to break away in the strike. Eventually it does arrive, but it's hit off Kailu Kamara, who I'm not sure if he's injured here. Maybe it's cramp. Yeah, he's just exhausted, maybe.
yeah, Kamara's done a lot of work with Bryce in the middle, but it's very interesting. You mentioned earlier St Albans now with this set piece. This might be the opportunity. It's about 15, 16 minutes to go. They really got to convert here. Avondale a little bit more on the back foot in this second half. Neil?
Absolutely so. We'll see the delivery arrive from Alan Jerez. Jerez into the mixer. Gurkic is there. Nothing really at the back post for St Albans to throw a foot at. And here is Yusuf Ahmed in transition. Again, Mel's, Cuba. The middle has been vacated by Michael Gilgic, and he can't get the pass off. Might St. Albans look to generate. The fans egging them on. And Ramsey with a neat little first touch. And definitely gives away the foul upon Kalalu Kamara. But both sides struggling to really create anything. And you see Kamara just on the deck. And Aidan Bryce is going to take the set piece for the Avengers.
Although there was a foul there by Ramsey, he's made a difference. There's no doubt he's given more presence up front and given more options. Moore is also giving on the right, the young player. Really also a bit of speed and recovery, and also taking on Blake Carpenter and pushing him back. So it's... As you can see there, Morey get back into it. He's got a bit of speed, but here we go.
Here's Liston Diaz. Gukic's got his footing all wrong. It's Liston Diaz. Last touch did come off Michael Gurgic, but for some reason he didn't cover Liston Diaz towards the left-hand channel. It was a very intriguing thing to note as Sebastian Vargas is going to make his way onto the park for Annabelle Hayek. Well, Peters always wants to make the change, but eventually it is made. Sebastian Vargas is going to come on from Annabelle Hayek, of course, formerly of Green Gully, and the son of Avondale assistant coach Andy Vargas. And actually did also start to break his way into the first team this season following a few injuries. Started midweek as well against North Sunshine Eagles. Towards a near post, it goes, it's for Carpenter. Might have fall kindly for Mel's, it doesn't. Blocked straight away.
Seeing in the second half that St Albans more of a collective work rate, back and forward. They're really pushing it and trying to get that result. Of course, for a penalty there, but referee right decision, I would say.
Oh, absolutely the right decision in that circumstance. As looks like we're going to wait a little longer for that free kick to be taken. Lucas Malia, our referee in the middle. And the pressure from Mel's all the way towards Art, and Bullich is in some way here. Mel's somehow keeps it in. That's all he really could have done, as it's towards King now. Oh, Marko Bullich. I'm not exactly sure what mind state he was in at that time.
Yeah, we were talking about Marko Bullich earlier on and before this broadcast. Very good shot stopper, but got himself tangled up there. You got a lot of dangerous players around that Avondale have and just got away with it there. That could have been the 3-1.
For certain. Of course, does have family history at the football club. Kamara. Back towards Manos. Here's Aidan Bryce. Yute Towns. Drive alone. Off the shoulders. Liston Diaz is offside. Yet again. Hasn't been the greatest of afternoons for Liston Diaz, but has provided an added level of intensity going forward. As a switch, well, the intended switch arrives. Manos keeping it in. Well, 10 minutes to go, Peter. If you're Cam Watson, what's the instruction from the touchline?
I think with the injuries that Avondale have had and the amount of work they've done in this game, a pressing forward to see if they can convert on any mistakes in the back four of Avondale, that would be, but also take a few risks. I see Morey here. He's trying to get in behind. Get your younger players, Ramsey, Morey, pushing them up front because they've actually created problems and really pushing for that equaliser. You might have to take a few risks, maybe even have play 3 at the back. That could be an option, but really Avondale look a little bit more tired.
As Carter Ramsey was nearly through there, but the flag did go up anyway. Aiden Bryce. Well, that's a misplaced pass. A bit of miscommunication between Sian Kuba and Liston Diaz, but fortunately for the two, they do win back possession. As Diaz underlapping is Sian Kuba across the face. Diaz calls for a handball. Odds! A golden chance for the Kiwi. And again, he can't fire home. He could have a hat-trick if it wasn't displayed in this manner by virtue of set shot opportunities. Here's Kamara. Towns. Diaz onside. Oh, in fact, he's offside. It looked like he was onside initially.
Yeah, we've seen a bit of a switch as well. Yusuf Ahmed's moved to the right. Liston Diaz has come to the left. Chan Cooper's dropping a little bit more as a 8 or a 10. So there's been a little bit of a change here for Avondale. But St Albans is an opportunity, but then Kamara is always the presence, very solid there. Avondale had a lot of chances. George Ott probably put away the hardest chance, missed a couple of easier chances. But the danger for St Albans is when you've got players like Diaz, Chan Cooper, Ott, even Yusuf looks a lively character, there's always that danger of transition and on the attack. But St Albans need to take risks. They're in relegation danger. A very good performance in the second half, but they need to be pushing up a little bit more. And we've seen that with Ramsey, with Morey, and King's had a very, as you mentioned, Neil, King's had a very good game. And they maybe need a bit of luck.
Yeah, Avondale have certainly been the better team, if you were to assess it on the balance of play for most of this contest. As we do see Ahmed race down this right flank, of course switching wings. They're going to beat past once more, but goes to the deck. He's really struggled to make an impact thus far. A couple of misplaced dribbles, as we do see Brian Summerskill now. Looking left, the import from England. Urging for calm and composure. Avondale, St Albans looking to cause a massive upset at home. Last time Avondale played at home, it was a 3-0 loss to Green Gully. Nels picks off the pass. That's a very acrobatic touch from Morey. But Bryce spots space for Liston Diaz. Putting on the afterburners. Liston Diaz, a great and timely slide from Michael Gurgic. But his position is vacated as he sees Diaz free in the middle. I think that might be a throw-in, in fact. And Gurgic is throwing everything at it. He's been tremendous.
Gurgic showing a lot of leadership there. Really a great recovery run. Really showing that defensive spirit. St Albans need to hold on a little bit here and then maybe on the counter really push a little bit back. They've shown that they can create opportunities. They just got to wait. With 5 minutes left, they just probably need to push a little bit more. Avondale, a lot of injuries today. Very concerning, and I think Zoran will be very concerned about that.
It is fashioned into the centre. Well, Aaron Giles is actually wobbling, but he's still managing to play passes. That's a true hustler's mentality. As a timely interception from Yete Towns forces the turnover. And Jerez, what a warrior mentality. Still playing, literally hobbling on one leg. That is something that I've never seen. As Ahmed is through on goal here. The icing on the cake for Avondale. And he misses. Would you believe it? Jerez is going to make way. And Adam Hordor is going to be the final change for Dynamo, formerly of Port Melbourne. a few games for Avondale in 2016 and then moved across to George Cross in 2018. Took a career break last season as well, might be added. It's towards the back post. Maury, a great first touch. Maury! It's into the feet of Thomas Manos. And we might have a late show here at Avenger Park.
Young Maury, a good chance there. And also Yusuf Ahmed's got to do better. He's switched. He's playing both sides. Now he's on the right wing. You really got to do better. You won't get many opportunities in the NPL as a young player unless, you're really putting him away, and that was a good opportunity. Yusuf Ahmed. Maury's really added something to St Albans. We mentioned this before, and really provided some width and some danger, but this is the last, 3-4 minutes. Chan Kuba there, looking also a little bit ginger. Maybe he's not 100% fit for this game. But, St Albans, yet again, another turnover. But here we go, Yusuf again.
Ahmed with a heavy touch, but still alive for Avondale as Ahmed gives away the free kick. The last 2 minutes of this contest. Do not adjust your TV sets, iPhone, tablet, whatever you're watching on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. This game has got plenty left in the tank. Kamara back towards Manos. The clearance might in fact find the path of George Ott. But a good defensive challenge from Sovereign. Who was there? Summerskill. Chongo. Murray. Good body positioning from Blake Carpenter, and he's going to go on a run of his own. Nutmegs Michael Gurgic. But Gurgic is going to say, hey, I can do that myself, and he's going to go into midfield. As we see Brian Summerskill breaking into space. We're going to send it forward. Now it's Towns. Mells. 5 minutes of added time. Could there be one last twist in the tail, perhaps? Diaz. Looking to beat past Nelson Chongo. And Bullich is going to neatly play it towards Max King. Kalina.
On the outside, on the outside!
It's really the last chance for St Albans. Now Michael Bullich deputising as a centre-back. Of course, they need ball-playing defenders at this time, do St Albans. But if Bullich can do both goalkeeper and defender, then why not? Nice little 1-2. Summerskill towards Hordor. Turning away, but his pass was picked. See Mel's in a lot of pain here. He's in extensive pain. Oh, this is not good news for Avondale. And I think it's just cramp, it looks like. But for a brief moment, it could have been way worse.
Let's hope Mel's recovers. I mean, they've had certainly a lot of injuries. Summerskill's playing a little bit deep. He's the top goal scorer for St Albans, playing way too deep. You've got to take some risks, push him up as well in these last few minutes. This is a high-tempo, free-flowing game, Neil, and really quite entertaining. St Albans got the last few minutes to really be able to get an equaliser. I am looking at Mel's. You're probably right, it is cramp. But these last few minutes, St Albans got to take some risks. Maybe play with only 3 at the back and just really press hard, because they might have, in the second half performance, they've really shown, their abilities and some exciting players. Maury and Ramsey. And we talked about Max King, and maybe get a deserved result here.
Yeah, absolutely. Mel's just going to make his way onto the park. As now, looks like we'll have a few minutes added onto the pre-existing stoppage time. Well, plenty to look forward to for both Avondale and St Albans in the coming weeks. Next week, Avondale face off against the Melbourne Knights for the first time that they've played them at Avenger Park since that semi-final last season. Packed out Avenger Park that day. As for St Albans, a Croatian derby against Dandenong City. Long ball full from Summerskill, but Ramsey's offside. And Manos, great work.
Ramsey just got offside. That could have been Last Chance Cafe there, just trying to get that score. But really, it's been a very entertaining game. St Albans haven't given up, still in this game. But Avondale have been shaken by injuries, and you can tell that a little bit after the cup match, maybe a little bit tired. And St Albans can probably sniff something right at the end there if they do have the time. Well, we've seen some very good performances here today, especially from some of the younger St Albans players. And Cam Watson, I think, has got prospects to look forward, even though that they're still in the relegation zone.
Definitely hovering around those spots, and St Albans just run out of real estate. Mel's towards Ott, he's clipped. Colina needs to be very, very, very weary. He's already on a yellow card. Certainly has been a battler's performance from Avondale. Of course, several injuries to their key men and Avondale stalwarts in Yusuf Ahmed Sr. and Joey Catavia. Good little first touch from Liston Diaz, and Nelson Chongo can pick off the pass. Carter Ramsey stepping in. Asking the question of where is the foul? Well, all men up forward for St Albans. Just about. This is the final chance, and they've absolutely made a meal of it. It's Ott. It's Yitte Towns bearing down on goal on that right-hand side, and Michael Gergic, like a gazelle almost, providing a tackling masterclass. Bullich has gone run out as a goalkeeper, and St Albans could be away. Summerskill towards King. Space opening up for Colina. Towards the right flank. Murray doing brilliantly. And it'll be a goal kick for the Avengers.
Good experience there by Carpenter. Murray, exciting play, just couldn't get it around when Thomas Manos comes out and gives Carpenter a hug there, if I can call it that. But really, St Albans still pushing this last minute. Gergic showing leadership, has saved them several times. Unfortunately, they just haven't been able to convert in these last few minutes. But it's a very good performance by St Albans. Thought there was a final whistle there, but no, it's not. And they'll take something from this game, even if they do go down, because they've shown signs here that they can be more attacking and more creative, especially with some of the players that really performed this second half.
There might be one last final chance for St Albans. They look down that left flank. And the free kick given away by Vargas. Well, this is the moment for St Albans. One final shot, one opportunity. Brian Summerskill will stand over this one. Could this be the moment? It's Summerskill lofted towards the back stick, and it's going to be a goal kick. And the final whistle blown. Avondale somehow hold on to their 2-1 victory here against St Albans. It's not been easy going. A couple of injuries for the Avengers. St Albans applied plenty of pressure going forward, and they were pretty unlucky, to say the very least, in many moments. Avondale, conversely, you could say, should have scored 4 or 5. But Peter, what are your final takeaways from this contest?
Avondale started very strongly. Could have been, as you said, nil. That's a great call as well. I will say that by you. First 20 minutes should have maybe had 2 or 3. Really controlled the game, or if we can call it the narrative. St Albans, workman-like, came back in, and second half, a really good performance, especially in terms of Ramsey, Max King, Colina, and even the young Maury really provided some upsides, things to look forward to. It's not over. There's still a long season to go. Avondale will be concerned with the injuries, how they manage the squad going forward, for the, especially in the next few games. They're really on an upward trajectory. I think that's 4 or 5 in a row for Avondale, but some key injuries. And some of the players also look a little bit more tired. Maybe it's quite a few games. So it's going to be interesting this season. We've got 3 more games this evening. And please, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Sorry, I should say the broadcast from me. We're also involved in podcasts. But the broadcast, and very entertaining game, tempo game. A fantastic finish, and really Avondale probably deserved it overall. Their class came to the fore right at the end there.
Of course, the 3 other matches: Port Melbourne take on Melbourne Knights in 3 minutes at 5 p.m. Dandenong Thunder take on Manningham United at 6 p.m. and Altona Magic against Dandenong City at 6:15. I've been Neil Simons. It's been an absolute pleasure to join you this afternoon and have your company. All the best in the future, and we'll see you very, very soon for some more NPL Victoria football.